came in the mail on yesterday, and I did an unboxing. I need to put it on here, but I put it on Facebook on in the stories. But it's called "Why Do I Keep Choosing the Wrong Partner?" And let me tell you, that was one of those gifts from God that came from me, because what I thought about was really, and it says it in the first page, y'all. It's so funny. Why do I keep choosing the same partner? How to become the love you seek is what this book is about. And so I'm going to read a little bit to you. And then if you would like to grab your copy, I have put the link down below. I think is $15, including shipping. But I wrote an introduction and I said, what qualifies me to teach this? This book wouldn't be what it is without my story, how I became qualified to do this work. I am a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. And at this writing, I am 56 years young. I married at 19 to a man who hadn't yet grown up. There's a lot I could say about him in that season, but the most important thing to know is that he didn't know how to love me, and he was emotionally, mentally, and sexually abusive. I already wrote a story about him that is on Amazon. It's called Walking Away, Winning the War Against Shame, Abuse, AIDS, and Abandonment. So I wrote that book already. It is on Amazon. So I didn't want to go into that here because that's not really relevant. I stayed in that marriage for 20 years. I left a few times, but I was always guided back because I loved him and because God loved him too. Some of what I went through, I never told anyone. Other parts, a few people knew. I carried deep shame about staying, and I felt like the life I created with him was a sham, unreal. When we finally divorced, I felt relief. I realized I am designed to be loved, not meant to be anyone's side piece. I'm not a woman who can live without love. A relative once told me my marriage failed because I didn't get a side piece. But I didn't want that. I wanted one man who loved me and only me. I didn't think anything was wrong with wanting that. Still, people around me thought differently, as I later learned. So I set out to get myself aligned to love. I had no idea how to do it, y'all. I had no idea. But I was willing to learn, grow, and heal so I could become the love that I was seeking. In this book, I'll share how I did that, and you can decide how you want to proceed. Just know this: I did it. I have the love I was seeking, a man who loves me like Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. One of the things that when I wrote out my list, because I always advise people when I work with clients that are looking for love, I always advise them to write out a list. Write a list of what do they want? Because many times what I've learned is we know exactly what we don't want, but we don't know what we want. And so that is the first thing. And usually I dive into that. I tell people to write that every day for a week. On the top of the page when you have a quiet moment, in a quiet moment, sit. I like to put some music on because I like music. Some nice beats or, I love put classical music on for that purpose, jazz. I love, like, I've been really getting into Alice Coltrane, and so I'll put her on, and, there are frequencies in the music. That's a whole nother live, but, there are frequencies in the music, and that's why you find a song that you vibe with, and you wanna listen to it over and over because it's the frequencies that draw you in the music. Alright, so the first chapter in this book is Aligned to Love, and I'm gonna read it. Um, what does it mean to align to love? How do you know or arrange in a straight line, or to put into the correct or appropriate relative position? So listen to that. Put it in the correct or appropriate relative position. So what does it mean to you? Now, the things that means to me may be different than what something means to you. So you put it in the relative position for yourself. Alignment and love is like that. Coming into the right position within yourself so love can flow to you and through you. How do you know you're not aligned? By how you feel. When you check in with your feelings about love, your patterns, your choices, your expectations, you'll notice where things snag. That's where alignment is needed. Why care about alignment at all? Because when we are aligned to love, we become what we seek. We let ourselves feel and therefore know. Alignment dissolves the blocks to love, the reason we keep choosing the same energy in different bodies. And I always say this, I say it looked like a duck and quack like a duck, yet every time you were looking at a swan. No, they are not the same. They're not the same. The purpose of this book is to help you see your patterns and release the limiting beliefs that keep you from love. If you've been looking for love in all the wrong faces and places, I understand. Like the Hair Club for Men president said, I'm not only the intuitive, I'm also the client. I've done this work and I'm confident I can help you learn to shift this for yourself. I invite you to take your time and feel into this book. It isn't only for reading, it's for experiencing. Read it, move from insight to embodiment. This book is about becoming the love you seek and about embodying the love you desire. And it's not a really long book, which is what I kind of wanted because I wanted people to be able to read and get through it. Because I know sometimes, like there are books, I just finished Will Smith's book and I'm so excited because it was 407 pages. And when I looked at that book, it intimidated me. But I realized that, you know, if it's something you want to do, you'll get through it. But the other part is, I want this to be bugs are trying to be on my book. I wanted this to be something that you would use as a tool, something that would really help you. And so that was a part of the reason why I wrote this book, because I had people coming to me and asking me things, how did you, manifest your husband and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I did a lot of things. I said, and to be honest with you, I really didn't have any guidance on any of them. And so when I felt called to write this book, I thought this is a way that I can help people and give them some guidance, show them what I did, and how I did it and put it out there so that you can make a decision if this is something that you want to do that you can do. You know, I am supposed to bring these messages and put them in a way, package them in a way that you can understand them. Because what I've learned in all of my years of studying and being in this world, being a metaphysical teacher and a metaphysical minister, I've learned that, sometimes you just have to step back and allow the spirit to flow through you. You can we go and we get all these different tools and techniques. Yes, those things are good and we do them and it's great. I do them. Many other people do them. But sometimes it's about listening to, the Holy Spirit, listening to your God self, your higher self. It's about tuning in. It's not about, you know, uh, consuming lots and lots of information. And so, what I wanted this to be is a guide. Not only, I'm sharing and I'm teaching, but I want it to be a guide, something that you can use a living work. Because I have so many books and so many courses and so many things that I've had that I've either already done them or I never finished them, because they were, I don't know, for some reason, either they were too freaking long, because people think that you have like it's a college course. And I'm like, no, it's not a college course. It's something that I want to help you, because I have taken college courses that have not helped me up for a minute in my life since I took the course. And that I know about that. I've done that. I've been there. I've been on the other side I um where I bought something and started doing the thing and did some of it and then didn't finish it or whatever, cuz sometimes they're just too freaking long. And it's not like that's the only thing in your world. You got other things to do. You got work and bills and children a lot of times. And I'm blessed at this time because my all of mine are grown, but a lot of people have those. And then even some of the grown kids are ridiculous these days. So, I when I teach, I really try to consider that this is not the only thing in your life, and this is not the only thing that you're doing, and you might also be working on other things, spiritually or emotionally, you might still, have gone back to college, because a lot of people are doing that. You might have started your own business because, the way they're firing people in America, left and right, you probably need to start your own business. So that's kind of my mission for how I teach, and even my courses. I have a few courses in my stand store at Intuitive Tammy, and I try like I said, even the videos in them usually are 20 minutes or less because I know it's digestible and it's something that you can go back and watch again if you need to. Because me, I need to go back and watch it again. So if it's 4 hours long, like I have a teacher that I take courses from time to time, and some of her videos are 4 hours long. Well, sometimes I don't have time to go back and listen to that whole 4 hours again. I might have to pick and choose the little portions and sections and whatnot. I honestly don't have the bandwidth to do it. It's just like, damn, So I try not to do that. So my goal is to, make things bite-sized and make things so that people can understand them, and this kind of thing. So the chapter 1 is foundations of self-love and wholeness, becoming the love you seek. So one of the first things I did was open my mind to the possibility that love might not look like I had always imagined it. Okay? Listen to that. Because, women, we got the Cinderella thing, or the sleeping what's that girl, Sleeping Beauty thing, or the Snow White thing, or whatever, that there's this prince and blasey blasey and this and that, and he looks like this. And if you like him clean shaven, or whatever, or if you like him with long hair with dreads and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you that's what you're looking for, though, right? So perhaps love had a different face, one I simply hadn't recognized or been prepared for. The first and most essential foundation is understanding self love. Self love is the cornerstone of every relationship in your life. When you truly honor and value yourself, you set a powerful standard of how others treat you. This isn't about arrogance or selfishness. It's about recognizing your intrinsic worth and showing yourself the kindness, compassion, and care that you deserve. The mirror effect. Your relationship with yourself mirrors every relationship you have. Becoming the love you seek is the true aspiration. When you constantly put yourself down or neglect your needs, others will often reflect the same lack of care back to you. Conversely, when you prioritize your emotional and mental well being, you naturally attract healthier, more fulfilling connections. This is so real. And I have experienced it multiple times, many times, many times. It's like, when because it's a frequency shift. You shift frequencies, and you emit a frequency that you are, and it's because you put a priority on yourself. Like it's certain things that, I'm going to do for me, and if you come into my life, then there's certain things that I expect you to do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even think that's about even high self-esteem. I think that's just about prioritizing your emotional and your mental well-being. And then the key to aligning with love is becoming the love you seek. It begins with seeing yourself through the eyes of love. Stand in front of the mirror and speak affirmations that truly resonate with you. For example, if you were often told that you were worthless, look at yourself and declare, I am worthy. I had to do that, and that was one of the things I did when I got divorced, was because that man had beat me down so mentally and had my self-esteem in the toilet, that I would do that. I would stand in the mirror with no clothes on because he told me I had gotten so fat and all this other kind of stuff. Mind you, I met him at 17 and divorced him at about, what, 37, 39, something like that. So, and had birthed his babies and stuff, but this is what he would say to me. And so I was like, all right. And so finally I would look in the mirror and I'm like, you are beautiful. I don't care what size you are. I don't care, how big you are. I don't care how small you are. Whatever it is, you are beautiful. And so this is what I said to myself in the mirror. I stood in front of the mirror. Hell, I still do that to this day. And that's been, God, I think that was about 15 years ago or so. But I still do it because it works. It's good. And to deepen the practice, try doing these affirmations naked in the mirror while getting ready. This vulnerability helps you reconnect with your truest self, body, mind, and spirit. If you've been told no one will ever love you, then affirm the opposite. I am love. I am lovable. Though it may feel strange at first, repeating these truths will help rewire your heart. Two affirmations that deeply healed me where love flows through me easily and effortlessly. I am enough exactly as I am. And these are some of the things, and like I said, I'm sharing, I'm sharing my toolkit. I'm sharing things that I did to attract this amazing man that has now retired me, from a hellifying career. The career that almost killed me and lots of people and has killed people that I've known. But he, allowed me to retire and to be able to do this and write this book. This is the first book that I've written, finished in this house. And so I'm just super excited about it. But then we go into meditation in the heart space. So meditation is another powerful tool for beginning your love journey. There are many guided visualizations that help you connect with your heart space, sending gratitude and love inward. You can find these on YouTube, and I also offer one myself. Meditation opens your heart to receive love. It brings you into alignment with the journey to becoming the love you seek. This path requires learning to trust your intuition, and this is what I hope to encourage within you. And so then I go into energetic grounding and tell you about the purpose and the reason and all that kind of stuff. And so then we go deep into affirmations, how to activate your feminine energy, because that is another thing, and that's not just for women. That's not just for women because, we all carry the male and the female energy, all of us. So that's just not for women. So just, don't look at it like that. Energetic alignment and manifestation, because that is a whole thing, because that really is what you're doing. I share some practical tools for energetic alignment and manifestation, communication and boundary mastery, speaking your truth with confidence. That is so, so, so important. What are your core values? Trust, surrender, and divine timing. I'm going to speak a little on the core values because one thing I said to my husband, my now husband, is he, we were, doing our thing, living together, whatever. And so one day I just looked at him and I said, I am not a woman that is, going to be your girlfriend for 10 years. I'm not going to do it. I was like, that is not me. That is not a part of who I am. I said, I am a Southern girl. I said, and I believe that if, you want to be with me, then you can marry me. And that's just point blank, period. I said, and if that is not what you want, then, you can keep moving. And even when I think about that to this day, I don't even believe that I said it, but I know I did, because that when you say stuff like that, it's putting yourself out on Front Street. It's taking a risk because, that they could say, oh, you know what, I'm going to go. I can't believe this girl is telling me that and blah, blah, blah. But he didn't. He actually stepped up. I think he proposed not long after that, but I didn't even really remember because I just said it and let it go. I just said, I'm just not that type of woman. I don't know what you used to, but I'm a woman that is used to being married. I got married at 19. So that's what I thought I would be, and so yeah, so that's one of the ways, that you speak up with confidence, and I did, and I didn't even think about it another minute. And I honestly didn't even realize that he heard me until I heard him telling somebody else the story. And I was like, oh, he heard me. But anyway, if you want to grab your copy, or I would love it if you would share this out to some other people and let them know that I have this book available. And like I said, it's a little book. It's not that big, but it's chock full of whatever you need in order to get yourself together so that you can grab your love, so that you can have, the one that God has prepared for you, and like I said, a lot of times we have to open up to different things, Maybe you need to look at, another type of man or another type of woman, or, another type of woman. Maybe you need to open up your mind. Because I'm telling you, for me, I love a black man. I'm not, I love a black man. But when I was divorced, I opened myself up and I dated other people. I dated other men, of other cultures and other races and stuff like that. And I opened myself up to that because I was ready to be loved by whoever God was sending me. And so sometimes that is a part of what you have to do. Open up your mind. And some of us, especially as we get older, our minds are so closed and we are so stuck in our ways, so set in our ways that, if I would tell people a lot of times, if Jesus came up to you and started talking to you, you wouldn't even know who he was or recognize him or honor him in the way that he should be honored, because you're so closed off and, you've got to have it this way and that way. I mean, open up. Allow yourself to, be open to what the spirit has for you because you never know. I seen some couples, I'm like, I wonder how that happened. You know what I mean? And not in a bad way, but they just look so different. And they just didn't seem like they would be compatible, but they were, and that happens so much. And so I want to be a part of that experience for you if that's what you're looking for. Because you'll find it right here in this book. And I'm tickled because that really wasn't even the right title. But it's gonna work out well because that's what I believe. And I'm like, that's probably what people needed because I was saying, why do I keep choosing the same partner? Because that's what it is. It's the same energy. It might even be a different whole look in partner, but it's the same energy because that is what you're attracting because that's who you are. And I know it's painful and it hurts, and it was painful when it came to me, and nobody even told me that. These are things that, you know, God dropped into my spirit. These are things that my guys, share with me and stuff because it wasn't a lot of people talking about this stuff, at that time. And I was in a different space. I had just come out of, deep religion and all this stuff and just started really being more open to the spirit world. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I hope that your day is magical. I am about to go to the pool. I'm about to go to the pool and swim and relax a little bit and hot tub. And yeah, and then I'm going to come back home and eat some of my barbecue that my husband cooked. He put his toes in it, y'all. He did barbecue, steak and chicken and ribs, hot dogs and sausage and burgers. Oh my God, so good. And everything was just delicious. I woke up yesterday morning at 10 o'clock in the morning and got up and fixed me some. And I made a potato salad, which I do that pretty good. And then he made some string beans and potatoes. So it was so good. Oh my God, so good, so good. And we still have so much food. Even though we sent food back with people, we're like, take a plate, please take a plate. It's just us. But yeah, so we're probably gonna freeze some of it. But so good. So I'm gonna go and get in this pool and relax and sit in this hot tub. And then I'm going to come back home and get me some barbecue and watch some football. What are you doing today, Emily? What are you doing? How are you enjoying this beautiful Sunday that we go back in time? Oh my God, y'all, we go back in time. It's a portal. We go back in time tonight. So don't forget, fall back if you live in those states. See, we lived in Arizona for years, and so we never did that anymore. And now we live in Washington, and we had to fucking do that, which I don't even know what the point of that is. But now we got to fall back. I know because London just fell back. I think it was last week or the week before. So yeah, so we got to fall back. So don't forget to set your clocks back. Usually the phones do it on their own if you got the right settings and stuff. But anyway. Thank you for hanging out with me. I would love it if you would grab that book. It's on Booksby. I haven't got it on Amazon yet, but it is forthcoming. I have to figure out something with the cover because it was just not doing right. And I don't know if it was just that day. And I think Mercury's in retrograde or we're in the shadow or something. And sometimes that stuff acts crazy. So I just leave it alone and come back to it. So I'll go back to it this week and try to upload it to Amazon in that way. That'll be there as well. And I would love it. I would love it. And I also do sessions, y'all, just so you know. I do private sessions. They're in my stand store. I think they're $127 for the private session. Um, and then I have a 4-week um, bundle that you can get where you get 4 sessions for 444, which is 111 per session. So, and they'll be, we do them on Zoom, come together. Um, my guys, your guys, the team, all of that. And we open things up for you, you know? Yeah. Because what I love is when people come to my sessions and I tell them, I say, now, I'm not the person that, you know, you want to sign up with for 12 years or nothing like that. I said, that's not me. I said, I'm the person that you come to and we get it together. Maybe we take 4 good sessions, maybe even 6 or whatever. I was like, but we come to it and we get together and I want to see you making progress. I don't want to just, be regurgitating shit all over because I see solutions. Where people see problems, I see solutions. And I've always been that way. That's I've been like that since I was a child. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear about that problem over and over and over and over. What are we going to do about it? And so that is, one of the gifts that I have that shines through. What are we going to do about it? What can we do? Sometimes what we can do is nothing. Sometimes we can breathe, we can relax, we can have a good time. We can do things that light us up. That's sometimes what we can do, but it's still doing something. And so that's where I shine, and yeah. And so we gather together and we talk about what's going on with you. What are you seeking guidance for? And sometimes loved ones come in, departed loved ones come in. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I've even had sessions where I work with people and their loved ones came in before I met with them. And it was the craziest thing because this woman came through and I was in my own meditation and I was like, wow, and so then when I spoke with the client and I just happened to share this lady that came through and she said, oh, that's my grandmother. So, these things happen. And, I just believe whatever you need, when you tap into the source, the one, the God, the you, when you tap in, it'll show up for you. It will show up in your awareness. Sometimes things show up for me that I wanted, but I didn't even speak it out or anything. It just showed up because I desired it. But that's the frequency, and that is the frequency that I want everybody to achieve, because it really is about the frequency, little things, big things, whatever. I mean, I don't qualify that because I say if I wanted it and it showed up for me, then that's a good thing. I wanted a lemon tea one day and we went in the store and they didn't have any, believe it or not, no lemon tea. And so I'm looking, I'm like, okay, I didn't think about it another minute. We go to a food truck and I grab a dish. I think I got a adobo. It was a Philippine truck and it was so good. And so I got that and I said, do you have any drinks? And she said, yeah, and the drink comes with it. I said, oh, okay. And she said, it's in the cooler. I open the cooler. What do I see? The first thing, the lemon tea that I wanted. You see? And so that is the frequency that we can be in, if that is the place that you're looking for. We can get there. It takes a little work. Yes, it takes a little work. but we can get there, and I can help support you in that. So, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you, Emily, and anybody else that comes afterwards. I appreciate y'all for coming through. And make sure you grab a copy of that book if that's that space that you're in, that you are, you're tired of going around that merry-go-round and keep getting the same one, and get this one and that one, and don't matter what color, what race, none of that stuff. It just be the same one because it's the same energy. And a lot of times, we can't see it, but other people on the outside of us can. And many times, what do? We ignore them. We say, "You don't know. I love him. He loved me." Yeah, okay. "You don't know. I love her. She loved me." Yeah, yeah. And so to that, I say, "Okay. Do you?" Yeah, okay. And I just pray. When you know, you know. All right. So again, thank you for hanging out with me. I'm going to go so I can go and do some swimming, or for my case. But I appreciate you. And thank you for, subscribing. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you're not, subscribe. Come on, join us. Be a part of the revolution, because that is one of the reasons why I'm here, because I'm here to break down all of these sophisticated, complicated concepts that people put out here. And it's designed to stump you so you don't know what the hell is going on and what you're dealing with. But I'm here. That's what I'm going to be doing. So really just buckle up and enjoy the ride. And I really do appreciate you, because, there are things that we got to know, there are things, and we don't often, and a lot of times, what I'm learning is, like, this season is not my season to just be consuming other people's shit. you know, like, I'm not saying there aren't people that I listen to, because I have a few teachers that I listen to, like on YouTube and stuff, but it's not my season to just be doing only that. No, no, no. It's my season to sit and hear what the source, what the universe is saying to me, and to channel that information if need be, into, like, this book. You know? That's the thing, and that's why I'm here. So, again, thank you for hanging out with me. Much love. Bye now.